like manna from heaven, really.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Taco Comfort Solutions.
It's a scene I always talk about, well, not always, but every once in a while, in Animal House, when the little boy is on the bed and he's reading Playboy, and this is when the marching band and the big attack by the frat is going on, and in zooms this attractive young lady through the window, and he looks up and he says, "Thank you, God." In some ways, not necessarily a direct analogy, but in some ways, the town of North Providence got that kind of a gift in the sense that some calculating decisions by the administration turned out to end up resulting in a big windfall from the Google settlement on how America was receiving its medications. And so it's kind of a weird way to come into a windfall, but there's no doubt that the town of North Providence has done smartly with this money, and the mayor of North Providence is here to talk about it momentarily. Great to have you aboard. Thanks for tuning in on this very warm Monday, huh? I guess it's politically incorrect now to refer to the summer as we used to, but I don't need any memos. Let's go to the, is it? I guess it is. Headline, yeah, okay. Listen, this stuff is serious. Let's see what the network has at press time.
I said absolutely nothing wrong. It was perfect.
On Sunday, President Trump defended a July phone call with the president of Ukraine, where he discussed former Vice President Joe Biden.
We don't want our people, like Vice President Biden and his son, creating to the corruption already in the Ukraine.
The call has come under scrutiny after a whistleblower's complaint to the intelligence community's inspector general. According to the Wall Street Journal, during the call, Mr. Trump urged the Ukrainian leader 8 times to investigate the Biden family.
There was no quid pro quo. There was nothing.
A claim the Ukrainian foreign minister backed, denying there was any coercion. But Democrats are calling for renewed scrutiny into the Trump administration's recent release of military aid to Ukraine.
There are likely a bunch of different explanations. Political pressure was mounting on the president from Republicans, but obviously the timing of this it looks really terrible.
On Twitter and in statements, the president has been suggesting Biden improperly used his position as vice president to help out his son. In 2016, while vice president, Biden threatened to withhold $1 billion in American loan guarantees unless the Ukraine dismissed its top prosecutor, who is seen as being lax on corruption. Biden's son Hunter served on the board of a company that had previously come under scrutiny by the prosecutor. There is no evidence that the former vice president or his son acted inappropriately. In a rare letter to Democrats and Republicans, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi warned of a whole new stage of investigation if the Trump administration continues to conceal the whistleblower's complaint.
You know, I've often said that Nancy Pelosi is pretty cagey about this kind of stuff, but, you know, this is go all in or don't go on this president. And the Mueller report stuff has been lagging, and America is completely exhausted from it. Doesn't want to know nothing about it anymore. So this Ukrainian situation, which if it began as its own unique story, in a normal administration, if we ever knew what that was, would be alarming. It would be crucial. There would be serious, not maybe bipartisan, but semi-bipartisan interest in getting to the bottom of it. But instead, it's all still part of, you know, there are blips in the spectrum of Trump stories, like it's like steady nonsense. Oh, this is a bit, but right. Here's what's going to happen, though. Joe Biden is going to be the victim of this thing. Joe Biden can't fight back from this too terribly hard. His son Hunter has issues, and so this is setting the track record for Trump just beating the tar out of Biden and Hunter, raising the specter that Joe Biden perhaps is not as strong one-on-one with Donald Trump as one would think, thus eroding a lot of the Democratic confidence that Joe Biden is the guy so to speak. Elizabeth Warren comes in and wins this Democratic primary, and Donald Trump gets exactly what he wants, which is a one-on-one with Elizabeth Warren, which in 2020 we may be saying, be careful, Donald, what you asked for. But the Democrats have lost their footing. They're gun shy, and Nancy Pelosi is not gonna. There's not going to be an impeachment hearing over this. There's just not, and so it's just going to be a more steady drip of damage. You know, my old football coach when I was young, when I was a running back, said to me, "If you don't go into the line fearlessly, you're going to get hurt." The Democrats kind of run with the football, waiting to get tackled, and they get hurt. All right, there's one Democrat that doesn't run in the football with his head down, that's for sure. And he got a good break, as they say in sports. Look at this headline. Google settlement money pays for town public safety complex. Now, the old headline was the original story. I think we're going to go backwards before we go forwards, but always good to see the good mayor of North Providence, right? You can't go into the line waiting to be tackled. You never have.
Absolutely not.
Right?
Gonna get in there.
Once upon a time, you made a decision to join kind of an investigation,
Yes.
right? Tell us about that.
And so we had an acting.
Welcome, by the way. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Dan. Thanks for your business.
Dry cleaners.
I'm his dry cleaner. Want to make that perfectly clear. And I don't have one of your shirts on today.
No, no. Oh,
But in any case, we had an acting police chief at the time, Lieutenant Dave Palmer, at the state police. And he came in to see me one day. He said, "I'd like to talk to you." I said, "What's up?" And he said that, you know, he had the opportunity to place another officer with the HIDA force who will be working with the FDA. And I said, okay.
With the what force?
With HIDA force.
HIDA.
Which work with the state police.
That's an acronym for what? Do you remember?
Drug enforcement.
Okay. Well, the FDA is the federal drug agency.
Right.
Administration.
And they would be working with the FDA. So I said to him, well, tell me how this works. And how will it benefit our police department? Explained it all. And quite honestly, then I said to him, so if you were me, what would you do? He said, I'd allow this fellow to join in this investigation. I said, okay. And the rest is history. 2 years later, you know, the federal government settled with Google $500 million. They just cut a check for $500 million. And we were the recipients of $60 million of that money.
Right, because your agency participated in the investigation that resulted in the settlement for Google, you know, not doing the right thing with outside the country medicine disbursement and all that kind of thing. That was your share.
Absolutely, yes.
$60 million. State police got dough. The Attorney General's office got a bunch of dough, but you got $60 million of it.
Yes.
Which is in modern municipal times an unbelievable break.
There's no doubt about it, and I can vividly recall the day that we were notified that we would be receiving this money. My chief of staff and I said, you know, how do you expend this money responsibly? Now, I come from business, and I'm known as being very frugal. And I said, well, we're going to have to be very, very careful here. I mean, Danny, how many police cars could you buy with $60 million?
Right, well, there are restrictions on the account.
Right.
So when you got the money, it was expressly limited to law enforcement, correct?
That's correct. So what happened was we then met with the Justice Department, and you know, ironically, Attorney General Noronha was the U.S. Attorney at the time, and we met with all of the individuals from the Justice Department. And I'll never forget the day that we got in the elevator to go up to his office. I said to the revenue agent at that time, her name was Rosemary Galogoli, very, very intelligent lady. I said, and we became pretty friendly, and because of our financial problems in town prior to that. And I listened to her and her advice and Ernie Almonte's. I said, hey, Ro, I'm going to ask them to allow me to expend $20.6 million for our unfunded police pension. I'll never forget this day. And she says to me, "It's a good idea." I said, "Well, how many police cars can we buy with $60 million?"
Yeah, hold it right there. So we'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about that, because we'll get to the public safety complex, which is brand new, and the ribbon cutting ceremony this weekend. But there's been some other good decisions. Stay with us. So this is what North Providence Mayor Charlie Lombardi was talking about. It was actually his first expense to take some of this Google settlement money, $60 million awarded to the city of town of North Providence for their role in the investigation and prosecution of this case against Google for medicine disbursement issues out of the country. You set up the story already, so you came up with this idea to replenish your pension fund, but that was absolutely not the protocol that the federal government was looking for.
No, when we met with the individuals from the Department of Justice and the U.S. Attorney's Office, Mr. Narona's office at the time, I asked them, I said, I need $20.6 million to fund our unfunded police pension. And I'll never forget it. Then the fellow, he was maybe like around 2 o'clock, he said to me, "It's not a permissible use." And I said to him, "I really don't care, because this is a responsible use." Because I'm thinking, how many police cars could you buy with $60 million?
Because he's looking down his protocol list of things that you can use it for, and you just didn't check the box.
Yeah, and
So when you said responsible, he said what?
He said to me, "I'm not saying it's not responsible." And my answer to him at the time was, "Well, then help me." It took us 9 months to convince the Justice Department that this was a responsible use. I mean, they would call every 2 weeks and say, "Okay, what have you spent some of the money for?" And I tell them nothing. And I'm not going to spend a dime until you support me and wanting to be responsible. And after talking with then I had to, get the politics involved with Senator Reid and Senator Whitehouse. And maybe, like I said, it was 9 months. It was very, very disappointing, frustrating, but we got it done. And I can tell you this, even Saturday, a few of the officers said, "Mayor, we never, ever thought that you could get this done." The opposite side of this, Dan, that you need to know is that the state said that in 14 years we had to be fully funded with our pension. That meant that we had to add and double up on our payment, which was an additional $860,000 a year. So for the last 5 years, we've saved the taxpayers by getting that pension funded $860,000 a year.
Well, look. You made a gut call years ago to join the investigation. It reaps all this benefit. I'm sure there isn't a municipal leader in the state that's not completely jealous over the idea that you got this windfall and that you were able to cure your pension unfunded liability. By the way, how's your OPEB unfunded liability in the town? The health benefits.
It's not that good.
No,
it's not that good, and we're trying to address that now. Now that we got the last couple of years, we've been adding a few hundred extra $1,000s to address it, so that we're not being accused of not looking at it.
Right. Well, no one's going to have any mercy for you if that deal doesn't stay together.
No, and
right.
By the way, it's going to stay together because again, we do have a little room from the 860.
Right.
So
yeah, well,
we are addressing it.
But the moral of the story here is, so you've dodged the bullet. You're at what, 90+% funded now?
92.
Yeah.
Second highest in the state.
So no police officer in North Providence ever has to worry about pension not being paid. Not so the case across the state right now. It is a municipal disaster. So that was $20 million. You bought some cars.
Bought some cars, ammunition, a lot of safety equipment for our officers. We put resource officers in our schools. And then the second part of this, and we continue to purchase equipment. And then we devised a plan to build this new state-of-the-art, one-stop public safety complex.
And when we come back, you'll take a look. Stay with us. That's a pretty good crowd for a Saturday. Isn't that a Billy Joel song? It's a pretty good crowd for a Saturday, and the mayor gives me a smile. I mean, that's nice. You had hundreds of people show up to the grand opening of this public safety complex, which, as you say, is one-stop shopping for police, fire, municipal court. As nice as any facility we have, including the state police barracks at this point, right?
Yes.
Headquarters.
Like I said, if it was second to none, second to any public safety building, is state police. And we're larger. It's a bigger facility because of the fire department also. But, you know, we had the municipal court in the town hall. It's always my idea that, you know, there has to be with the police because people will come to the municipal court. Then they thought that they could come to the town hall and pay that ticket. And then we'd have to send them to the police department. So when we were talking about this building, I'll forget and saying to former Chief Martellini, I said, look, Paul, this needs to be a one-stop shop. And I got my eyes on that piece of property in the center of town across the street from the high school. So it was in foreclosure. We put an agreement together. We purchased the property. And my vision was a one-stop public safety complex. Police, fire, municipal court. In the center of town, across the street from a 1,000 student high school. You can't get any better than that. And it came to fruition. I think we'll never have to worry about addressing our public safety needs ever again. I'm going to tell you why. We're 98% developed in North Providence. So it's not a situation where you would think that in 10 or 15 years, you know, there's an additional 500 homes in town. You would have to hire an additional 15 officers or 10 firefighters. It's over. This is it. Never, ever again. And hopefully the taxpayers and those individuals that are working in that facility, Dan, appreciate what we've accomplished in, you know, their working conditions.
Well, your environment, the environment that you work in has a lot to do with your quality of life. So I'm sure that it's a big day for public safety officials in North Providence. Funny that you say you're 98% at cap. So I mean, for all intents and purposes, North Providence is sold out, right?
It is.
Yeah. Well, Mineral Spring Avenue, commonly known as Misery Spring Avenue, is all part of that. You didn't think this was going to be a complete free ride, did you?
No, absolutely not. That's why I enjoy talking to you.
What are you going to introduce on Misery Spring? A maglev system of some kind?
No,
for
we're
God's
going
sake?
to be introducing the you know, construction of a new animal shelter in town. That's our next
Where's that
thing to do. Where it is now up on Smithfield Road, right on the Smithfield North Providence line.
Did you just change the subject?
I did.
Yeah.
I tried to beat you at your own game.
No, man. What do you do? I mean, you know, I don't know. What are you going to do?
But listen,
listen. Everybody knows what they're getting into when they get on that road on the wrong day, right? Or
but
the
Dan,
wrong time of day.
there's 22,000 cars a day. Look, we don't have land mass. We can't attract big business. So our salvation is small business. Last year, 15 new businesses on the avenue. Okay. 2 new elementary schools, a new public safety complex. I think things are...
What are you going to do with the school, the elementary school? You and I had had a conversation about Providence's challenges with their facilities, and clearly Mayor Elorza didn't take it very seriously, but you did, saying that you would have offered that school building to them. Is that transacting?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Just this morning, I was talking to someone and said, you may be getting a call. Would you be willing to enter into a lease? I said, absolutely. Because my thought here is...
From the city of Providence?
Right. So
well, finally, they're taking notes from our
Yep.
broadcast here. I mean,
Well,
because that was
we
a little-
offered it.
that was
I was here.
That was our little brainstorm,
Yeah.
right? You know?
So I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. So
That come from the state or the city?
It came from the building committee that's trying to address their issues. And I said, absolutely. I said, look, we would have stayed there if we didn't build a new school. So this is a facility that I offered a few months back for them to think about. And if I could get,
That's the Marywood,
Maryville. So if we could get into a long-term lease.
Where is that exactly?
Right at the 146, where 146 comes into Middle Spring.
Right.
It's right there.
Right there.
So if we can get into a long-term lease with that property, a long-term lease with the public safety building where the police and fire were, listen.
What is that? What's the public safety? Old complex.
On Middle Spring Avenue.
I know that. What is it? Is it retail? You think?
Yes, it's real. We're going to make it whatever's going to garner us the most amount of tax dollars. We'll make it work as long as it'll fit in with the neighborhood.
You're going to be a hard driver on the Maryville school. You're going to give it to them at some kind of expense that helps the community.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that too. And I just talked with our people today to ask them what we were paying Johnston when we leased the school while we were building these 2 new elementary schools for the swing space. So, yeah, we'll enter into, I'll treat them fair, but, the taxpayers need to be, rewarded. Mm-hmm. And we'll the business sense then tells me, put a decent, fair agreement together so the taxpayers in the town of Los Providence will receive money monthly for the next maybe couple of years. What's better than that?
Yeah, well, that's breaking news then, because the city of Providence has a few buildings that are just not rehabilitatable. They're just not. Or they need to send the kids out in order to really do a good job in cleaning them. I'm not sure which. Do you know? So you're not ready to tell us what building. Did they tell you what buildings they're looking to abdicate or vacate rather to?
No, they didn't. It's not that far yet.
Just an inquiry.
But the thing is this, Dan, when you look at this, when you look at the line, the Providence, North Providence line in that Charles Street area, this school is maybe 0.6 of a mile up the road. And I think they need to take the same approach that we did when we were going to build these 2 new elementary schools. They said, let's build one, then we'll move the kids back in, then we'll take the kids out of the McGuire school. I said, no, we're going to build both of them at the same time. My business sense tells me you're going to buy lumber cheaper, you're going to buy steel cheaper. Why are we going to make this a 4-year project when it could be 2? That's when we went to Johnson. Or what are we going to do? I said, I know what we're going to do. I went to Johnson. I knew that school was available. So hopefully Providence takes the same approach and to address some of their educational needs.
All right. Well, that's a little bit of breaking news in the conversation. Congratulations on the new complex. The citizens will benefit. The employees will love it.
And the last thing I want to tell you is that the fact that we got the fire department in that building now will allow us to sell or lease the other property. If the fire department had to stay in that property, and now the taxpayers will either get a long-term lease benefit or a sale benefit.
All right. It's making deals. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Good update. Last word. So we'll follow up on that potential development with North Providence leasing out its now empty elementary school. We got to be resourceful around here. The city of Providence knows they need some facilities, if only as stopgaps. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you on the radio at 3 on WPRO and back here tomorrow night. Thanks.